Okay, so let's touch base on why we would even want to propagate from seed. One of the biggest benefits of seed is that they're cheap. We can get them fairly inexpensively. And the other thing too is sometimes we can collect them ourselves and we don't even have to pay any money at all. The other thing too is that we know their origin. In horticulture, we have a word for this. It's called provenance. And this idea of provenance is that we know where these seeds potentially came from. A lot of times, a seed company may say, this seed came from this and such county. If you get it from a friend, you know where it came from. Or like the split beard blue stem I have here on the slide, Andropogon ternarius. I know where the plants came from in my garden because I collected the seed on a back road nearby here in East Texas. Another reason we would propagate plants from seed is because the plants are not available. And this is something we do see in the industry that there's a lot of great plants out there, but they're just not typically commercially grown. Maybe they have propagation challenges, maybe they're just not widely available. And so, if we can get seed and sow them, we can capitalize on some of these plants that are not readily available. The other big benefit too of growing from seed is that a lot of times we'll know their freshness, either because there is a germination percentage on the seed packet, telling us how many seed have germinated, telling us when the expiration date is, or if we've collected them ourselves, we of course know I collected this on this date, and therefore I know roughly their freshness. We're going to get into a little bit later on about why that freshness matters because some seed are very intolerant to drying. The other thing too is that we can also propagate seed and grow based on our planting design. So if you know you want certain number of plants for a design, you can just grow them yourself in your own backyard. The other beautiful thing too about starting your own seeds is that you begin to recognize seedlings and what they look like from every stage, not only as a pair of cotyledons just getting started, but then later on whenever they start to develop their true leaves. And so, for example, I had Nemophila facilioides germinate in my garden for the first time ever this year. I was ecstatic that I had this plant return, but I was just so surprised because at first I didn't know what it was, and it took me a minute to recognize it. And so again, germinating your own seed allows you to start learning about what species and how they look like whenever they grow. So like this baby blue eyes here has those little dissected leaves on them, and I begin to learn those. And so now I recognize them and see them, some of them even sowed out in the yard. We can also optimize germination when we're propagating from seed because if we start to learn what specific seed need for good germination, we can make sure that we repeat that every time. And so this is why record keeping is so important for us whenever we're propagating from seed because we start to learn from what we've done previously. And then of course, one of the last reasons why we want to propagate from seed is seed saving, that you can harvest seed off of your plants at the end of this growing season and then get ready to sow them next year, and again, that saves you money. And the other thing too is that again, as we're trying to engage the younger generations to have kids that save seed and then propagate them again the next season, it really helps to bind them and connect them from season to season. And again, that whole cycle of plants.